Good afternoon, Flosstube. It's Pam, stitching between the lines. Today is Tuesday, July 1st, 2025, and this is Flosstube number 151. Yeah, it's already like early, heading towards mid-afternoon, and I thought I better get at it because every time I turn around, I lose a little time somewhere. I don't know where it's going. My husband's away, and so I have visions, had all kinds of visions of all the hours of uninterrupted me, right? And then yesterday I had to go up and help my daughter with something, so I didn't get back home until probably 3:30 because if I'm in that direction, I might as well stop at the grocery store and do some things like that. And then it's 3:30 and it's hotter than heck and nobody feels like stitching. So then this morning, and then we're going to talk about calendars. We're going to talk about calendars. I have to have lots of calendars. I have this kind of calendar in my purse. So when I'm making my next hair appointment, old school, got to write it down. Want it in a calendar. I want to see the whole month spread out in front of me. So anyway, I bought my next year's one because I already have things to put in there. And then I have this kind of calendar because I need, like, it needs to have a place to put things where, I need instructions for an appointment or there's something due or whatever. And I need the whole like month spread. There's week by week. If I turn the pages, let's see, there's already all kinds of things written. I'm all the way in November, but there's this kind of week to week, but I don't write anything on there because I just need to see it by the month. So this stays out and open in the area in our house where, like, the drop spot, like the spot where you put your keys, your purse, your mail, that kind of stuff. So yesterday was June 30th. My next one is on the way, by the way. I've already ordered it because, like I said, I got things to write in it already. And so anyway, it was open to June because that's what one does. And when it's June, I knew of an appointment that's coming up in July that I need to change. So that was on my mind. And because of that, I left my small one out in the kitchen so I would remember that there's something I need to do. I got it out this morning, July 1st, and I hadn't flipped pages yet. I had a hair appointment this morning, so thankfully it was, timely, like I had time. But I had put on like old clothes and I really wasn't planning to leave the house except to go get the trash cans, the mail, water the flowers, things like that. It's very hot and muggy. So anyway, I'm like, oh no. Plus I hadn't made a Flosstube. I was going to do it yesterday. Then I was going to do it this morning, and then the clock just keeps ticking. Tick, tick, tick. So I was walking through the house. I don't know. I'm gathering things to get ready for this, and there's 2 loads of laundry dumped out of the basket on the bed. I never do that kind of thing, but I had, leaving to get my hair cut. I'd left last night's supper dishes in the sink. Never, ever, 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 ever do that. So after lunch, I had to do the dishes. I don't know. It's hot. That's what I'm blaming it on. It is hot. I can't blame it on jet lag anymore. I went away for 2 weeks in June. We went to Switzerland for 2 weeks. A tour and a business-related trip. So it takes a while to get over. That took all of last week to get over. But jet lag is gone. I can't hide behind that anymore. And then my husband's gone away again, a whole different direction. I wasn't invited. No, it was work, some amount of work related, fun, mostly fun. Work related. It's fun pretending to be work related. Let's go with that. So I was talking to him on the phone. I said, I really think I just earned myself a trip to the Houston Quilt Show or something one of these years because, we just got back. Our life is like chaotic because we were gone for 2 solid weeks and now he's gone again. So trip was good. What I will say is I never had I love to go to Europe. I love to see things there. Switzerland, beautiful. Oh my gosh. You could pick out over and over again. You could say, oh, I think Heidi must have lived there. And then the train goes some more down along the crest of the mountain. And you're like, oh no, there. Beautiful. That kind of landscape is beautiful. So that was very cool. I'm not, this is not going to be a surprise. I'm not an especially outdoorsy person. And a lot of what activities are to do involve, the Alps, like a train ride along it. Sure, that's great. A gondola ride up it. More trains, look at the views, go in the glacier, take in the views, come back down the mountain. A couple days later, you're climbing another mountain on a train. Very beautiful. By the third mountaintop, like, yeah, okay, I'm good. Alps. They're the Alps. Like, so I'm not really complaining. I'm just saying. Yeah, I don't want to hike. I don't want to climb a mountain by foot. Anyway, I'm done. My freshman roommate in college was from Switzerland. Her father was an ambassador to Switzerland from a different country. But when we were roommates, she was currently in Switzerland. So it's kind of interesting to see, where the area where she lived. So anyway, now I'm back, claiming that I don't have jet lag. But my brain is kind of like here and there and everywhere. And anyway, I forgot I had a hair appointment this morning, but thank God I caught it in time. It was funny, my last hair appointment, they were discussing a plan of attack for when people don't show up, forget their appointment, and need a phone call, what they should charge them. And, in my brain, I said, I never forget a haircut. I'm always so ready to go get it cut when it's time. I do not forget. But yeah, I will admit I forgot, but caught it in time. So, calendars, good things. Change the page maybe a couple days before the first of the month if this is going to happen. So yeah, so anyway, I traveled and didn't stitch to the same degree that I usually stitch, obviously. Yeah, I took, as I showed before, my stuff is all mounted on boards on the floor in front of me, so I do have to kind of lean into it. I took Carolyn Manning's birthday cake, which is a project I work on daily. There's no set rule. It's my early morning stitching, and if I don't have time to do it or feel like doing it, I don't. My goal was to finish it by December, which is I started it last December. I'd also done Carolyn Manning's Beachcomber in the same method where I had small goals every month. Finished that one in advance of its goal because they're easy. They are easy stitching. So here's birthday cake. It's not complete, so don't get too excited, but it is a mega amount completed compared to where I started. When I started June, I had the frame done basically, and maybe a little smattering of things. But throughout the month of June, I managed just over 10,000 stitches, which sounds like a lot. But remember, this is my focus piece, and you can stitch and stitch like a crazy person and do hundreds of stitches. I could do 200 stitches in an hour because it's just, these are, this, which there's not that many of, that's 81 stitches right in there. So I think I've done all of them. And then these big arrows, those, I don't know how many stitches it is, but it's a lot. There's some of them are done down here. This morning I was doing white. Let's see if I can feel. There's white done in here, and I was doing one of those big arrows. Even I can't see it. So there's definitely white done in here. I'm down into the last several hundred of the whites. I'm very, very close to where every time I pick up a color, I can complete it. There's a little bit of a hollow area, my needle, a hollow area in here, and I will not work on a part that's not touching something because that's just a disaster in the making. So that's blank, that's blank. So anyway, I will finish it in the first half of this month, I think, unless something goes awry. Living on a lake, it's the holidays, 4th of July here in the United States is coming up. Long weekend, so I'll have house guests or my kids, this weekend, and then another event next weekend where people are coming. So I kind of lose a little time there. What I would consider my quiet time. I keep exposing this. Let me see if I can do it better. This quilt was up last month. It's been up multiple times in the course of my Flosstube. It is, and I didn't say what it was because I don't know, I forget. It is Heart and Home by the Quilt Company. I did it as a class at my local quilt shop, which is no longer here and in business. And it came as a kit, and let me see if I can point. These are like fabric that you fussy cut. So whatever the windows are, whatever the curtains are, whatever's going on, probably the whole door was a fabric piece that you cut out, came in the kit. The flowers that are growing, whatever's going on in the windows, and the quilt. Can you see the quilt? My hand can't. There. That was a piece. Sorry, I'm holding the iPad like I'm directing you at things and wiggling it. I'm never going to win any awards for my video skills, I guess. So I did it as part of a class, and then it's funny. I'm going to scooch you again a little bit. This lower tier was meant to go on upside down because there's side ones and there's a top one. I'm going to tilt you again a little bit. But I put that one on, like, I put the bottom one on so that they sit right side up. And it wasn't supposed to be, but I guess my eye said, yeah, it needs to be. Because the houses, I don't believe in the pattern, were upside down. The bottom corner houses. So I like it much better like this. So that's just me. That's what I did. No idea if it's still available. The Quilt Company does have a website. No idea if you have to buy the kits, the patterns. It was like 6 patterns that, because each house was a pattern. The borders was a pattern, and this border was a pattern. I don't know where the houses fell, but I'm pretty sure it was 6 parts. So anyway, there's that. I think there's a new one out now that's maybe fall or Halloween or something. I did it so many years ago. I'm going to say more than 10 years ago. So my memory of it is a little bit vague. So the quilt. Okay, showed you some cross stitch, talked about the quilt, have more cross stitches show. Let me pick some up. Everything's mounted on the boards. I've worked and kept up with, this is another thing I had to do, is I had to finish 4 birds today. The birds, the gray part was done, but I hadn't done the colors. So this is Temperature Birds. It was a pattern that came out in 2024. I just found it online. I don't have the stats right in front of me. I've talked about it every month. I don't know. Search Temperature Birds on Etsy. I am doing both the high and low, every bird. Let's see if I can get close enough. You can see every bird has 2 colors, a high and a low. However they work out in there. This, whatever the low was dark purple, so it doesn't show up. It gives them a real parakeet kind of look. Parrots and parakeets. So that's been fun to do. I put the snowman on. I forget what was here. I didn't like it. Excuse me. I believe there's going to be another element or 2 that I don't care for. I caught a cold while I was away. A cold all the way from Europe. And it's gone now, but my throat still gets dry and scratchy. So, sorry. So Temperature Birds is coming along, and I'm keeping up with it. Yay me. Oh, that's easy to fall off that wagon. When I finish Carolyn Manning, and I don't have an early morning stitch, it could be this. Just doing the gray part of the birds and the black clothesline. That should be easy. I can do it without the magnifier. And that's my main focus, is I don't really, when I get up in the early mornings, don't really want to have to juggle the whole pattern, the whole whatever stuff. So there's that. Then in June, there was the 2 Whipgo calls. Excuse me again. I took everything out of project bags, so I don't know the numbers, and basically it doesn't matter what my numbers are. If you're interested in Whipgo, you've probably seen them already. So one of them was Deck the Home Treats by the Trilogy. It was a kit. And I finished that in the first few days of June before we went away. Did everything it called for on the fabric. There's beads. all the things. So that was cute. And then the next Whipgo call was 4th of July in a jar. The title says 4th July in a jar. Madame Chantilly. I don't know her original language, so I understand the 4th of July, like that got lost in translation somewhere. So this is the cutest pattern. I love every part of it, except for apparently actually stitching all these long, long, long things. Oy vey. So I started that after we got back, and this is going to be my second Whipgo that stays a whip. Out of all of this year, the whole entire half of the year of Whipgo, I've only not completed 2 whips. So we're going to get into where there's some bigger, heftier patterns coming up. So I did the jar. This about killed me getting this done. I got this done last night, and I was going to outline the whole rest of the jar lid, so then I could come back to it and just put an occasional thread in. I would like to just say right now, there was probably little or no chance I was ever going to come back and put any threads in, because that's how I roll. I think it, and then I don't want to do it. So, but I do know that if it was done, the next time I worked on this, I would be so happy. Anyway, last night I was just tired, and I got this far done. I used up 1 thread, and that was it. That's all she wrote. And there was consideration given to last night when I was putting it down, to picking it up this morning and just finishing across and down that jar lid. But I had a surprise haircut, so there was no time for this kind of frivolity. So that was my Whipgo for June. Which rolls, I'm looking at my stuff on the floor, which rolls me straight into July. Wow. I feel like I don't have a lot to show, but do I really ever have much more? No. Let me pick my things up. I picked up more than I can hold. See if those will stay there. So in July, my focus piece is going to be Teresa Koget's Land That I Love, which was a focus piece once already this calendar year. I'd love to think that I could finish it in July, but I don't know. This is where we're starting at. So I have a fair, less than half the border to do. I have the big flowery vase thing that's right here, which to me isn't so intense. Yeah, no, it's this one. Less intense than certainly this one. I don't know. This one went faster than I thought. I have some doodads to do up in that corner. And then from here over, and a bunch of the bottom. Every time you look, there's more and more I haven't done. I had the last, let's see, it's been a focus twice, other than doing this middle part, which I feel like I did. I started one time I was doing mania 3 days on each project, and I got a lot of this done. And then the next time it was a focus, I finished this and all this and blah, 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 a whole bunch of stuff. Last time I spent a whole lot of time down here and doing some border. And I'm not sure if this had been started. I did this and finished the alphabet. Can I move it around more? I'm sorry. I hope you're stitching and not looking. What I felt like the last time it was my focus is that I did not accomplish as much as I did the previous time, when I felt like it was going really fast. So I'm not looking forward to the houses, because I just don't, I don't dislike big blocks of color. I think it's that working around the windows that I just don't like. Working a little in here, I don't know. Not my favorite. So today we have learned I don't love doing houses because I don't like working around the windows, and I don't love like huge long stretches of stitching. You see the stuff I do though, right? I accomplish some serious stitching. So, I don't know. We'll see where I get on that. And then the mania, iffy if I will finish either of these. One of my mania is When Pumpkins Glow. You're going to get it so you can see it without me taking it apart. I can see it without me taking it apart. I got enough chaos here without trying to find the bag I lost. Oh, they're so cute. So I don't know, the pumpkin people shouldn't take me all that long. The interesting thing is, you know, I really don't like sayings that are, to me, nothing I've ever heard, or I don't know. I'm wondering if I'll even do the words. If I'll just crop it somehow. I generally don't not do things in a pattern, but what I love are the people. So it could very well be that I do the people and some amount of whatever's going on around them on the ground. That'll be interesting to see. That's a possibility. Oh. Yeah, the people are so stinking cute. You really could just end it with them. Put a crow on top of her little curly Q and call it a day. Could be. We'll see. I have a piece of vintage country mocha in there, and Land That I Love is on 20 count vintage country mocha, and I'm enjoying it, but I don't know. And then on the other mania call is this, mania, Whipgo call, is the Scarlet House's Be of Good Cheer, which I've liked this and had it kitted up for a long time. Look, I have the silks. But I balance that out with a piece of Weeks Dye Works. So, I will at least start both of those. One of them should be started today. I tend to work the first half of the month on one and the second half on the other. Try to start with a smaller one, because if I finish it, then I can start the second one sooner rather than later. We'll see, because it's already almost 2 o'clock. And by the time this thing gets ready to upload, it'll be later. So what else has been happening? Oh, some books. I have some books. I have some book things to talk about. So at a retreat I went to, anywhere I am where people gather, like-minded people, the subject of books comes up. So I always ask everybody if they read anything good, whatever. So this book was recommended by a stitcher at a recent retreat. The Patriots by Sana Krasikov. Sorry, I can just sound it out. Don't really know. It's a multi-generational saga. A young woman prior to World War II, think she lives in Brooklyn. Her job brings her in contact with some Russian young men who come to our country for a work-related stretch of time, and she gets to know them there. So that's all I know about her then and there. We know her in the future when maybe she's just been released from prison. Don't know why. And then, that she goes to Russia. She announces to her parents she's going to Russia. There's nothing they can do about it. She's bought the ticket. She's like 24 years old. Then we meet her son, who's been in an orphanage, and he's about to meet his mother coming home from prison. He's meeting her at the train station. And then we meet the son again in his adult life when he's back in the United States. So it moves between those kinds of phases. So that all happens in the first 48 pages. So here, page 48. I'm on page 48 on Saturday evening. I'm settling in for a little bit of reading. And do you see what page that is? There are 33 pages missing in this book. 33. Because you see, that was page 48. This is page 81. So I'm like, what? So I go flipping through the book real slow to see if I can find page 49. It's not there at all. Not at all. But if I flip forward a certain number of pages, here's page 81 again. So I go online to the library to request a copy. So I'm waiting for that to come. I know I could do battle with Amazon. I just want to read the book. So the tragedy is that I have to throw this book away when it's done, because I'll read the library version for a while and then I'll get back to mine. I'll make sure that I flip through and really see that all the pages are there. But I kind of really did a good flip through. Oy vey. So having to put that book aside, I picked up this, which was left over from a library book sale. Like, I just picked it up because I love John Grisham, and I read this book when it was new in 2009. And I just thought, oh, someday I'll want something simple to read. I have zero memory at this point of the subject matter. Legal thriller, The Associate, John Grisham. So I'm reading that. So these bookmarks. Let me talk about the bookmarks. So at our one hotel, all these hotels in Switzerland had like turn down service at night, and we would like leave for dinner and come back, and somebody's been there. Like, I guess I kind of want to know if somebody's going into the room. You know, you expect the cleaning people in the morning, housekeeping, to go in at some point. So, you know, you tidy up your toiletries and whatever kind of thing. And so every evening it's like there had to be some like alarm, like, oh, they're leaving. Get in there, do the turn down service. I don't care if it's 6 p.m. They're down at the restaurant having supper. They're going to be up before you know it. And there'd be our room turned down, and you're in Switzerland, so it always involved chocolate. Also, I think every single hotel spread out a little towel rug next to the bed with some little slippers, and just unusual. I've been to Europe several times, and never had that kind of service. But in Switzerland, I think every single hotel did that. So anyway, the one hotel, my book was on the table next to a chair, and they put a bookmark on it for me. And my iPad was on the nightstand, and they put one of those microfiber like screen wiping. I'm like, oh look! I said to my husband, "Did you get a bookmark?" Yep, he got a bookmark. So the next night, I left my book out again and removed the bookmark that they had given me so that I could have another one. So now I have 5 bookmarks. Ultimately, I ended up with 5 bookmarks. So they're very cute, fun, a nice souvenir, a fun reminder of our time there. So anyway, John Grisham. What was I reading when I was there? Oh, I read the audio version of oh no. Can I find it to tell you? Oh, I'm going to Google it while you guys talk amongst yourselves. Because my Goodreads is on my iPad. My Kindle is here. Excuse me for half a second. I read this one on my Kindle, like while we were traveling. So let me see how fast my Kindle will pop up. It was an Anne. Don't make me say it. I'll say it wrong, the title. An Anne Leary book. And I have talked about her books many times. I've read all of her books. And now this was the last one that I hadn't read. Trying to get the cover to come up in full size, but it doesn't wanna. It does not want to. Anne Leary, she's written more nonfiction, I think, than fiction. The Yellow House was the first one I read by her. That was fiction, but it was very good. And I read the one about An Innocent Abroad, which is about her and her husband being in London, I think, and her going into premature labor and having her son and being forced to stay there. That was interesting. I thought, an easy read and stuff. So this one was called I've Tried Being Nice, and it was short stories, essays by Anne Leary. Very enjoyable, perfect travel book, because you read, you can see the windows reflecting, you read a little, and then you're done, and you can put it aside and read something else. I read another book too, but I don't remember what it was. I left it in our hotel. If I'm traveling out and finish a book that I don't really feel the need to save, I will leave it in the hotel, and I always hope the hotel has like a little library. And this one did. Somewhere somewhere downstairs on the main level, walking by, there was a bookcases and it had some books in it. So I'm hoping they would stick it in there. But short-term memory loss, I can't remember what I was reading. It was whatever I was reading last month. It talked about, I saved it to travel with because it was an easy reading book. Oh, it's coming back to me. It'll come to me maybe before the end of this, and then we can talk about it again. I'm telling you. How do I remember anything to have a conversation about what books have you read lately when I'm with people? So, it was Queen Victoria and no, in Spain, the parents of their youngest daughter married Henry VIII, Catherine of Aragon. It was fiction, historical fiction, but it was interesting. Can't remember the name of it. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't, it wasn't anything like earth-shattering. There's a ton of historical fiction about all the royalty, but I do like to read those. Just interesting. Truth, not truth. I don't know. I think the book was written in like 1962, and I'll put the title in here somewhere. And it still read fine. Sometimes when you read a book that came out a long time ago, I can admit right now I was not alive in 1962 by the skin of my teeth. The phraseology is a little off. My understanding of royal children and whatever is a little different than how they were being raised. But what do I know? I'm reading Philippa Gregory sometimes. What do I know? Just my understanding is sometimes the children were raised away from the parents to keep them safe if they were who was going to inherit the kingdom next. So anyway, yeah, I liked that book. So yeah, I did that. Last month, I forgot to update you on my library tour. So I took 2 months ago, I talked about learning about my local. I use multiple libraries, and they're in different networks. The one here in town here is in a different network. It's actually in the library network where I actually grew up, so kind of far away, and I'm more than an hour away, but it encompasses many libraries. I raised my kids and lived 30 some years in a library network that consists of 42 libraries and that spans 4 counties that kind of surround the big city we live outside of. And I learned at the same retreat where I learned about the book that has missing its pages, that the library system was doing a program where if you visited every library in the system within the year, you could get a gold library card. Well, who doesn't want a gold library card? Who doesn't want to go to the library in future years with your gold card and be all like, look at me? So my youngest daughter is also an avid reader, and she volunteers at her local library, and which is a library I also use. Anyway, so she and I have been going and doing the tours. So you get 4 of these like packet little folder things that are the maps, and you go to the libraries and they give you a sticker, and some of them are far away, some of them are well over an hour from where I live. So we have planned a couple different outings where we travel and catch as many libraries as we can and revisit. There was one library I've been to 3 times for a variety of reasons, but we won't go into that. So anyway, we're saving our home library, the library that is in the town where I raise the kids. We're saving that library to be our very last visit. And so hopefully in the next several weeks, we will get to visit. I think we have 6 libraries left, but they're in our county, or the county that I'm closest to. or the county where I live when it's wintertime. They're each in far reaching corners. So we'll maybe do a day where we go in to get 3 over there and then the 3 over here. You know, it's kind of sometimes a little tricky to catch them open. When we went to the one county that's the furthest west of us, we had to do some zigzagging around because one doesn't open until 2 o'clock and one closes at 2 o'clock. So you got to get to that one and then circle back around. So it's been kind of fun making up the map and figuring out, you know, which one comes next. And it's been fun. I'm not clocking how many miles we drove, but one day we left home at like 9 in the morning because I think the first library opened at 9:30 and didn't get back home until I'd say 4 o'clock at least. And most of that time is spent driving. So it's interesting. It's definitely an interesting endeavor, but we are making our way through it. And like I said, we have 6 libraries left that we should finish this summer. It's just how quick we, you know, these particular libraries are all closer to me, and I'm an hour away from where my daughter lives. So it means that her schedule has to be such that she can kind of come down here and we can do the journey. We'll see how it works out. So maybe by the time I do another video, I will have finished that. That would be awesome. So I think that's all I've got. I'm looking around. We've talked about all my projects, all my books, and I don't have any big plans. We got some birthdays coming up. Seeing as I had to go out today for my surprise haircut, I went to the grocery store to buy some of the bigger, bulkier things that we'll need, you know, soda and whatever kind of stuff. And then I went up to the market where I can get farm fresh eggs and some other things up there. So, you know, the things starting to do the whole like big mass shopping for all the things. All the fun, all the summertime fun. So yeah, it's the kind of thing. We sit out down on the dock on the 4th of July and there's people do fireworks all up and down the lake. So I really like that. That's fun. And there'll probably be a couple nights worth of it. Because, you know, the 4th is on a Friday, so maybe it'll only be Friday night, but I don't know. So I hope everybody's enjoying their summer, if it's summer where you live, and that you have fun things planned, and that the heat isn't wearing you out. Because, you know, it's not my favorite. But we'll get on. Life will go on. I have air conditioning. I don't know how I lived without it. So anyway,